give something back for what you all have taken all those years from hairdressing and bring them out to what they are now. Only discount for students. Students get 20% discount because that's your client for the future. And because the price rates where we were in Holland was higher than the rest, students could come for 20% less. America, Europe, Asia. I think the profitability is in New York almost nihil because the costs are too high. The staff, and what I don't like there is the tipping, because you ask $100, the share is like 48 for, and then the payroll it will be 52 for the worker.
Zenoti presents Growth Diaries, the fascinating stories behind the best brands in beauty, wellness, and fitness.
From a small salon in a Dutch village to a global beauty empire, Rob Peetoom has redefined the art of hairdressing and inspired several people across the industry. From humble beginnings in 1969 with his first salon in Netherlands, today Rob Peetoom Salons has over 15 locations across Netherlands, US, and Bali. As a firm believer in nurturing talent, he has been very passionate that every employee delivers the same high-quality experience across his salons and has invested heavily through his investment in Rob Peetoom Salons and Academy as well. All these contributions in the industry have earned him multiple accolades over the years, including the World Master Award, the Global Salon Business Award, and the Intercoiffure Award for the Best Salon Academy. Today, his daughter, Rochelle Petum, continues to take his legacy forward as the CEO of Rob Peetoom Salons. And I have Rob himself here to share the journey of Rob Peetoom. Welcome to Growth Diaries, Rob, and thanks for making the time.
It's more welcome to you than to me. You're visiting Bali, and I'm very happy that you enjoy me and see everything what we did here.
Yes, and this is the first time I'm doing one of these from Bali directly. And since we're doing it in your academy, in your salon academy, I thought I want to start with that and ask you, what led you to open a salon academy of all the places in the world in Bali? And it seems like a wonderful space that you have here.
It is. And it's a long story, of course. I'm 56 years in the business now. And my main thing always is quality. So to bring quality in our profession is the main thing. So I did in the past, I have academies, I give trainings, I did master classes. And when I came to Bali, or first of all, I told you before, I wanted to open in Sydney. Why in Sydney? My wife came from there, and I thought, to my younger kids in Holland, maybe they like to travel in the 90s, going to Sydney. So in 2004, I want to open there a salon. But unfortunately, it didn't went through. 2 years later, I came in Bali and thought, I fell in love with Bali. And I thought, okay, we're going to work here. 50 years ago, I opened in Simiak my first salon. We have now already 4 salons. But the main thing is, in Indonesia, there is no education for hairdressers. There is no education for any profession. If the girls are 17, 18, 19, you have a small kind of school where they learn something, but not a real profession. Then I told to Lina and Dayu, my partners here, what we're going to do is open a school, a charity school, because they can't afford to pay for education. So we opened the school 2 years ago. We had 21 students. They get housing, they get food, and they get pocket money, and they don't have to pay. So how fun is that?
Yeah, that's very surprising because I don't have any school that I know of where they do that. 100% of students are not paying you any money.
No.
But what is the outcome you get out of them, I wonder, because now that you're training them?
It's first of all, it's the joy we have. So when you walk in, learn to love what you do. And to learn people like that they don't have the money, and to give them education in a profession where they can be forever earning their money. The thank you after you saw when they have here their examination, 18 of them, they did it and they got it, and they were all crying. It was really something, that the emotion that they have, that I think, yeah, that's give something back for what you all have taken all those years from hairdressing and bring them out to what they are now.
Yeah, it's impressive. To be clear, what Rob is saying is he literally has 20 people who pay nothing, and at the end of it, they're transformed into being some very good stylists who could work in some good quality salons and
Yeah.
some with you.
They all have work now. Even the 3 that didn't make their exam, they're working in a hairdressing salon, and they can make the money. And that's how I see that more hairdressers nowadays should work on the education for hairdressers, because our profession is slowly going down to you better do something in technology or in something else. You can make more money, but you have to love this. It's such a nice profession, but you have to explain it to people. And that's what we are doing here now.
So you have the signage out front where we saw that the light, love what you do, right?
Yeah.
The thing. So I wonder, where did this come from? When did this insight come up that if you want to do this, you better love what you do, otherwise it's not going to work out?
When I was at school, I was 15 and they sent me off school. I should have been a technical engineer, and I was drawing a lot. So I like to make faces and draw things. Then at my parents' place, my brother got a haircut, and I thought, wow, that's funny. He can change somebody by cutting his hair. So I thought, okay, instead of a technical engineer, because I was kicked from school, my father said here, he was a carpenter, you get a hammer and work. I became a hairdresser. In the start, I didn't like it at all, because at that time it was backcombing, hairspray, and I was an apprentice, have to do the hair out and wash it. It was not smelling nice. So I left the hairdressing industry in '62, went hitchhiking to Stockholm, worked there for a year. After a year, I came back, and my former boss said, you can work for me, because he liked me because I was a handy guy. So, and we had 30 staff, so I could do everything what he liked to do outside. The blow dryers were broken, I fixed them and stuff like that. So I was a handy guy. Then I came back, and it was in '65 that Vital Zoon started to cut hair instead of backcombing. He was making something really nice from hair, and that's what I fell in love with. I went to London, saw what he was doing, and exchanged my whole philosophy about hair. It was like drawing, you can cut something. And that's where I got the idea from, learn to love what you do, and then you're happy for the rest of your life. I always say I never worked.
Yeah.
And I'm still cutting hair.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't think there are too many people out there who have that long of a tenure, who've been cutting hair, and you still are.
And I still do.
And you're actively running your business across the board. And I do realize, even this Bali thing, you're talking about hitchhiking, and it works out very well for your other employees in other stores to come say, I want to go backpacking or do something, and they get to come to Bali and live for a while and support the school here and the salons.
We have 10 salons in Holland, and we have 350 people working. And if they like it, they can work or in New York or in Bali, but they have to have a certain level, because a lot of young kids, they ask me, oh, here they say Parop, there is Meneer Petum, can I go to Bali? I said, of course you can go to Bali or New York, but you have to have a level of a master that you can train the people here in Indonesia or the people in New York, that you give them something back, and not just for the fun, have a holiday in Bali. That's not what we like to do.
So it's had a side benefit of you coming and starting this business here. So we talked about you starting it. So I do think I've seen this where many people, whether it's you, when I talk to Van Council, Mr. Van Michael, there's a lot of passion around hair when we started off, kind of thing. That's how journey start. But then going from there to being like a popular guy, many people will look at you and wonder, how do you make that inflection? I can cut hair. There's a lot of people out there who cut hair, sit at the hair to make money, etc. But I wonder, what did you see as the inflection point of saying, how do you come out of just being a good hair stylist or creator to building a business, a salon of your own?
Like I said, I should be a technical engineer. That means that my counting is really well. When I started in 69, I opened a salon, had 3 staff. And in the 3 staff, on Saturday they say, have a nice weekend. And I had 4 clients sitting, and I can count really well. I said, if I do this the rest of my life, I don't make, I have a good butter and bread on my plate, but it's not making a lot of money. So you have to think of something new. So I always was into, I did locally, I did shows in restaurants, I did hair shows, trying to get the attention of the consumer. A lot of hairdressers, they go for to be the world champion, but I went in fashion. By doing in that fashion, I was asked for magazines to work. Then you get a name. And if you have a name, other people ask you as well. So can you do a show? A big company, Eugène at that time in Holland, hair products. They said, can you organize a big show for us? And I did. And then from there, Intercoiffure came. You want to be a member. And from one side to the other side, but it's you have to love what you do, but it's 24/7. You have 24/7 working to get a name. And that means do a lot of things for nothing. So if they ask you, you want to do a show, but there's no money, do it. You work for magazines, you don't get paid, but you get a name. And on the end of the row, you get a little bit kind of famous. Like nowadays, you have all the Insta, everybody can go on Insta. But in my time, it was more, I worked for the Vogue, for the Elle, for all the magazines. I worked everywhere in the world. I did shows for Intercoiffure in Japan, in New York, in Brazil. So that's why you get a name. But then on the end, in your salon, it was booked out for 3 months because everybody wants me. And then I thought, oh, that's no good. So in the 70s already, I made price differentiation. I made myself more expensive. So you could, nowadays we have 5 different price levels, also here in Bali. So you can come here for, I think, 200 till 800,000 for a haircut. Mm-hmm. And that makes a big difference also for the consumer. But back to to be a famous one, I always say we are all born naked and we have to do our best, special for the staff. Because I can't make it by my own, what I said in the start. I can't make it. My staff has to make the money for us. So management is important, but the staff we have to please and we have to look after them. And that's number one in our industry.
So clearly, as you became a celeb through all the strategies you said, and I think that's one thing is a lot of the industry, the average hours worked by, I looked up in the US, at least the average data was 32 hours or something in a week. That's all. That's just stylist work, which was very surprising to me. I thought it would be 50 hours and the data does validate it. So I think your tip of saying, look, you have to put in the hours, you're going to go do some of those hours maybe free, work wherever it takes to get that kind of approach you took. So fine. And looks like, once you got that, then everybody wants to come to you. Well, they can't, you can't have enough hours.
No,
so you have to have people who can deliver great service at your caliber. So people are willing to go to your staff kind of thing, right? So in that sense, I wonder, maybe you should talk about, how did you go about, because from what I know, it's not like you had a lot of money which backed you and, starting your first salon. How did you get the money together, or the full process of saying, okay, I'm going to go do one on my own? If you're enjoying the show, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and it helps others find the podcast. You can also follow along on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I started one salon, small salon in 69. Then you work hard, you get a little bit famous, but then it was in a little village. And I thought, okay, I'm now kind of famous, a celebrity, hairdresser, but I mean, I'm in a small city. So I want in the big city. Then I went to the bank and I said, okay, I want to open a salon in Haarlem. And then the bank manager said, in Haarlem, there are many hairdressers, you don't get the money from us. So I have to look around, see the money and see. And on the end, I found it and somebody supported me. And we opened a huge salon with 32 staff. And there it started again. But it was 12 years now that it started, 81. So 81, we started the big salon. And that changed a lot of things because then you were in the city. And the city brings you more clients. It's more and more that you have then the feeling that you can grow more. And in 85, I started together with a friend of mine. We opened two names, Rob Peetoom, Fred Nieuwenhuizen. We opened 2 salons. Then you want more because you think you are a businessman. So we had a Figurella, that's a shop about body slimming. And we opened one in Leiden, and then we opened one in Belgium. But then suddenly one of the editors of the daily newspaper found out that they thought it's too expensive and it's no good and blah, 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 blah. Big story on the front page, and then you get killed. So that we have to stop. I have to sell those 2 salons, 85, 86. And then I started again in my 2 salons that I had, work, and get the money back to the bank. And then I decided to go, my people that are working for me, who had the same quality, give them their own salon. So in the 90s, I started to grow with more salons, but always with a partner.
Who's the partner who's somebody working with you
Yeah.
as your partner. So you have somebody you fully trust who understands the quality.
They had minimal, they had to work 7, 8 years before they, first of all, they have to be a master or a creative director. Otherwise they can't have, even if they have the money or whatever, they can't do it. And the quality has to be there. They have to train the staff again.
Okay, great. So we talked about employees. Obviously, when did you first start your first academy? I mean, in Holland.
When we had the bigger salon, I had inside the academy. So on Tuesday night, the academy was there. So I had a curriculum to train the trainer, because I made all the top stylists at that time in my salon, I made them trainers. And from there you grow. Then when we had at the certain moment, we had 5 salons, I think 5 salons. Then we had I opened in end 90s a management, because the 5 salons, earlier days I did Sunday morning my own books, but if you have 5 salons, you have to have somebody that does it. So at a certain time, I opened a management, and there was a room, a space extra to make an academy. So the academy from the salon, because every salon had his own curriculum and after training, we went to, on Monday, they have to come to the academy.
And so academy was primarily so you could find people, or it was also for the...
No, it was only internal.
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 You started
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Great. And so in terms of acquiring customers, because you've been in the business for a while, you opened these salons, you're being an entrepreneur, and you're at 154. How has it changed for you to attract new customers into your stores? Because with each new store, you need more people, more customers. What has worked?
Okay, in the 70s, 80s, it was not so difficult because I had the name. So when I was on television in the 80s, and the phone was ringing the next morning, the whole day through, they have to do that. And so everybody there was no Insta, there was no Facebook, the only thing was I was working for, it's one magazine that's called Libelle, And we are doing now already 56 years that magazines where we do the hairdos for. And 3 times a year we do the new kind of hairstyles on the readers. So it's important to have that kind of thing in the 80s. In the 90s, it's changed a little bit. So it is, I don't know exactly when we had a website, and the website was important. But then suddenly you got the Insta. I don't know when was Insta coming. That was later. Eh?
Later in 2000.
2000, yeah. So first you had your website, make it there, and it's all. I strongly believe still it's mouth to mouth that they can bring you clients. Think of, I never did discount, never ever. Only discount for juniors, students. Students under 20, students get 20% discount because that's your client for the future. And because that price rates where we were in Holland was higher than the rest, students could come for 20% less and they want to. And then you got, on the end, you got that they keep coming and growing with the junior or the stylist, they grow up to the master.
But I think, yeah, word of mouth, as you said, is still like that hasn't changed over the years.
No.
It's still the primary way people discover stylists who are wonderful. And so even in our data, it shows the good performing salons, I think, get about 33% of new customers through like word of mouth or referrals, what we call technology wise. So it is a meaningful number, but there are a lot of salons who don't get as much. And I guess that comes back to what you said, which is you've always had the passion around quality, and that's kind of driving your academy here as well. Because I think word of mouth only works if it's quality in terms of the height.
If you see now the students from last year, how creative they are and how busy they are. I also do photo shoots with them 4 times a year. They love this profession and they show it to us. And they working now in the salon and they like to get clients. So they put now their own Insta and they put out what they do. And it's really fun to see how it's growing. But it's all, we can help them a little bit by giving them a voucher for if they bring a friend, that the other friend get a present, or we find everything what we can do to bring the new clients in. But we are on an island. Bali is an island, so it's up and down with tourists and people who are living here. The fun part was when we opened 50 years ago in Simiak, we had around 80% boulets. Boulets means foreigners. Now it's 60% Indonesians. They come to the salon, and they like what we do, and that's very important.
So you've been in the industry for 56 years, and you're still active. There are other people who've been in the industry, but they're not active. I mean, I know some people. But so, what have you seen that has changed in terms of the nature of service you provide from a consumer perspective? The relationship between the stylist and the consumer. How was it, long ago, and how is it now? Do you think? I mean, what changes happened?
Now, the big change I have seen in the 60s, that was from backcombing and hairspray towards that you can use hair as material and cut it off. But for the rest, it's more in the 70s. It was funny. In the 70s, everybody had short hair because they all want to do an exchange. In the 80s, everybody has a permanent. Not everybody, but 60% of my clients had a perm, curly hair. You just wash and blow and then you just add curly hair. Then in the 90s, it went back to longer hair again. And then no more perm, but color. The most important part from the 90s till now is color. Color is the main, where most of salons making the money is in color. And then to bring it back here, you can do a lot in condition. Make the treatments, make nice hair. Because, like I said, I never have been into world championships, being the best hairdresser. Always in fashion, working for fashion shows, working for fashion magazines. Then you need nice, beautiful hair. You need beautiful hair that's shiny, and that's where my goal is. And I always say to my girls here also, if a client says this off, don't cut this off, cut this off. Because they always say, oh, it's so short. Yeah? And it's working with the clients. It's really something, in a way, also in hair, like a bob has been in the 80s, highlights, and then in the 70s. It's all coming back and forwards. You can't really change something. Like now, barbering is in. All the male nowadays, all the footballers, they have still, if a footballer nowadays get longer hair, the rest of the boys get longer hair. Because we promote a little bit longer hair, but it still is too short. I find it too short. It's more when was it, the 20s, 30s, that it was all razored up, and it's still there.
Yeah, great.
But for the rest, hair is hair, and you have to look. What we train the people is that look, who is it, what kind of body she has, and what kind of hair, and then make the lengths that's good for them. That's the most important part then and still now.
So since I know a lot of people who build businesses like yours in the industry are, they're personally built through their own personal initiative. It's not like some corporate thing. They are the hero at the top of the business, and they are the brand. They attract people, employees, everyone. And you've been successfully transitioning this business where today actually your daughter Rochelle is the CEO and runs your Holland main business, etc. there. How did you prepare for this change? Because I think there are a lot of people in the industry who have to think about how do they approach this change. And I know you have 2 sons and 2 daughters, but there's one of them who became the CEO. If you're enjoying the show, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and it helps others find the podcast. You can also follow along on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode. So.
Yeah, like when I had my 2 sons, when they were young, I said, at that time I had only 1 salon. I said, don't be a hairdresser, you can't make any money. So just go study, do something else. And my oldest son has now a big beach restaurant, and he has 2 hotels, 7 in Amsterdam, 7 smaller restaurants, and he's doing really well. My second son, when I grow up, he first worked somewhere else, and at the time that I was growing up at 10 salons, I said, okay, you can work for me because I have 2 salons in Amsterdam, 110 people working there, so you can. It's a nice job for you. And then I had my 2 girls later, and the 2 girls, I said, study really, go into the business, go see how figures are working. Because if you're going to be a hairdresser, you have to do the same thing like I do. But my strongest side was looking to the figures. So you learn first how that is, and then you can grow and see, be ready. And they are both really into fashion. They love the beauty. How nice is it for a daughter that the father is a hairdresser and that they can take over something in the beauty industry? As Rochelle said, how happy can I be? And she's really working hard on it. It's not easy. It's not easy because New York is more difficult. The Holland nowadays, after COVID, all the wages are going up, and you can't let the hairdressers do more than say 8 clients a day. If you want to make more money, you should do more clients. So we have to find different ways to increase. My masters now, I give them a master chair. So, and then you see that if they have their own master chair in my organization, they do more turnover. Reception, that's why I'm happy with Sanofi, because they are providing us with all kinds of skills what we don't have as a hairdresser. And that means that we can have shorter receptionists because AI will take over. Because, like I said, you can do only so many clients. And you can't, if you sell, you can sell one piece, but you can, for the same product, you can sell 100 pieces in one go and you earn more money. I can't do one haircut and then I do 10 at the same time. It's impossible. So it's, but I'm very happy that I have three eigenlijk. Only my oldest son is doing his own business, is doing really well. But the two girls and my oldest and my youngest son, they're all three in the business, and I love it. And they do too. Learn to love what you do.
Yeah. So I think that's what is the key. You were successful. I think it's not just because you were passionate about creative stuff and love what you do, but it was also that you were a numbers guy. You understand the business intimately, and your first priority for your daughter was to make sure they go to business schools or learn the running the business. And of course, I guess they got passionate. But it's wonderful to see that I had the opportunity to meet with both of your daughters, and they're, of course, big fans of you, and, seems like a very strong family bond among all of you. So great, great. Cool. So you've been in the industry for so long. I would think it would have been tempting for you, because you deal with so many different products, to say, hey, let me go research some new products and launch a new product line under your brand, etc. Want to give a little color, or what your advice or belief has been over the years?
It's I've seen it, and it's like I said, I've now total 15 salons. If I should have 150 salons, I probably should make my own product. But if the quality of my own product will be the same like Davines at the moment, that what I use, I don't think so. Because I'm not a chemist, I can't make it myself. You have to trust the guys that make it for you. I've seen in those past 56 years that a lot of hairdressers had suddenly their own product, but it was mediocre product. It was nothing special. So it's hard to decide at a certain moment from, okay, I'm gonna make my own. And unfortunately in Holland, if you make your own product, I even couldn't I couldn't call it Rob Peetoom shampoo, because the Dutch people don't like that. They are not, because you have a name, that they say no, they don't want to let you earn money. So it's difficult. And I'm quite happy with the deals I make with Davines, and they hear Davines sponsors the school, and they give free products for the students. Of course, the students learn to work with Davines. So if they are in the future opening their own salon or work somewhere, they have the product knowledge what they need. And that's the same for you guys. I learned the students also working with the Sanofi product. And it's very important. Like I said, I opened now a second or the fourth salon in Canggu. And the students, they take the Sanofi, they know what to do and don't need a receptionist at that time.
So I guess it comes back to that, which is having great quality and not just the service, but the products that you use. Everything has always been important to you.
Yeah.
So because if you spend time on research and product and all, it takes away time from your core business as well, I'm sure. So quality, learn to love what you do, and just being a numbers guy together has resulted in you being successful, looks like, in terms of some of the whole beliefs. Great. So I had some, by the way, I have a few generic questions, not related to your message as well. And we can choose, if you don't like any of the questions, you can switch, or you can choose to. So is there a company that has stood out that you've admired as you've grown up, that has been, kind of, you look at it and that you learned from?
Yeah, I found Redken when it was from, that's on my age, you forget names, but I will come back to it. Sebastian, I like the smaller products, because I was in Sebastian in the creative team in Los Angeles. They spent a lot of time into create things. The bigger organizations, of course, like L'Oreal, Wella, Schwarzkopf, they're good companies. There's nothing wrong with, but it's not dedicated to the hairdressing industry. So in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I learned a lot from all those guys, the smaller products. But then Redken was bought by L'Oreal, Sebastian was bought by Wella, and then it changed it. It changed the whole thing. So standing out for me was in my time, I started first with Sebastian and then after Redken.
Cool.
When they were not side of the bigger companies.
Yeah. And is there a book that has been an inspiration or a guidance for you that you read, or a book or other multiple books?
Now, the thing is that if you are 24/7 working in your business, I'm not a reader. When I was a young kid, I was reading comic books because I'm visual, see everything visual, and that's why I draw and do and things. Reading, well, in my time, it's only fashion magazines because there was no inside. You could not look. So I bought every month 10 fashion magazines, from the Vogue till whatever. Mm-hmm. And there I was always busy with this, but not in a way of more technology or things like that. That was not my goal.
And so why should a consumer choose to go to Rob Peetoom versus other salons?
First of all, the quality. That I always work on the quality, and yeah, if you see my salons like I've heard in your other stories, I have people working in Holland. They work already 40 years in my organization as a hairdresser. So it's more that you provide them with something really nice, and the salons has to look amazing, and they do. If you see New York and if you see Amsterdam, how they look. But then, of course, you can't control your staff. And our profession is really difficult to be every day the same professional guy or girl that has the smile and be nice. That's why I love Indonesia or Bali. Here they have automatically a smile. But it's understandable that if a girl works 5 days a week, and she has something with a boyfriend or whatever. So I always say to my managers, look, in the morning, if they walk in, if somebody has a face like that, talk to them because they have to do clients. And that's what you have to look into.
Cool. So clearly quality is a big passion. And you said, even your staff, like you said, not only do you help them become in a hierarchy of stylists to be a master stylist, you've helped some of them be partners with you when you open a new salon and that kind of thing. So it kind of, I think the investment you're making when you talked about people have been with you for a long time in your staff is fairly deep, and it goes beyond employment.
Yeah.
Because
it's like I said, there is no boss. You have one team. And unfortunately, I'm then the boss. But I mean, we're all born naked. We have to do our best all together and look after them. You have to look after them. And even nowadays, I don't have the time, but to have 30 staff in my first big salon, there's a lot of things that they have personal problems. You talk to them and you help them out. And it's a kind of, yeah. Now I have too many people, so sometimes if I walk in a salon that I even don't know who is who, because after so many years, you're not always there.
So building a business like this and being passionate about everything you do can keep you pretty heads down, but what do you do to make sure you're not burnt out for your own personal wellness? Well, how do you approach it? If you're enjoying the show, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and it helps others find the podcast. You can also follow along on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode.
Like you said, when you fly a lot, you have to do exercises. Every morning I do kind of Tai Chi. I like sport. I love, my whole life is sporting. The only thing is that I was a runner every morning, 5 till 10K. And that's why I ruined my hips and my knee. So I have 2 new hips and a new knee, but I still sport whenever I can.
Nice. Nice.
because sporting and and have fun in life. The fun.
And so today the salon industry is quite different than when you started. So if somebody's trying to start a new salon today as an entrepreneur and who's been a successful stylist, but moving on to starting a business, any advice for them or how to approach it?
Yeah, you have to. That's the most important part. Look to the figures. That's even I did in the 90s. I did with Rob on the coffee. You could come to me. 12 hairdressers came, and then I asked them how is your salary percentage wise? How is your buying percentage wise? They didn't know. They have no clue. Hairdressers are always interested in hair, but not in the business. The business side is the most important part to look at. And you have to see, you can't open a salon without being a hairdresser. Because if you do it from your staff, you can't make any money because it's a working process. You have to be a hairdresser and look to the figures and enjoy what you do and learn your staff also how they should treat the clients that they come back. You have to have regulars. That's the most important part.
Cool. Great, great. Was there any topic you think that I should cover that I didn't? Any area of your history? I'm trying to think.
No, not really. I think that that the main thing is that I find our profession gets more. You have to look more into it. Like I said, New York is higher cost and Holland is going there. Indonesia is interesting because here you have a lower.
Okay. So again, given I have the opportunity to explore, you've been looking at profitability of businesses for over 50 years now. How do you think salons as an industry in terms of profitability and business owners, how has it evolved over time?
Yeah, I mean, I've now America, Europe, Asia. I think the profitability is in New York almost nihil because the costs are too high. The staff and what I don't like there is the tipping, because you ask $100, the share is like 48 for and then the payroll it will be 52 for the worker, 48 for the salon. But he gets another 20, so he gets 72. And 48 is almost the cost of what you need in the salon. So it's not really fair. Europe doesn't have tipping. That's more regular, but I was always under the 40%. Now it's almost 50% wages. So the margin gets smaller and smaller. Here in Indonesia, you can still make the 20% profit. But also here you have to watch it because, especially in Bali, Indonesia in total is not that far yet. So Bali gets a lot of tourists, Russian, everybody who spend a lot of money and they don't care what it costs. And so it raises the price. But still here and they have a work mentality. In America, before it was also 24/7. Now it's also they like do less hours than before because they want to enjoy. That's the whole social media. Then Holland, they don't like to work 5 days anymore. It's 3 till 4 days. Here they still, even they like 6 days working because they can make more money. So it's a change of things and you have to really look into that.
So it's interesting. So salon profitability is harder and harder over the years. Yeah. And I never thought of this, but it's an interesting point you have. In the US, where we have tipping culture, that if I come for $100 haircut and I give $20 or $25 as a tip, then I was, as a consumer, willing to spend $125 for that service experience. But yeah, the provider is making quite a bit portion of that versus the business who has to still. And that's why I think we were discussing some of the good brands' profitability has slowly come down. It is a tougher and tougher business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, thanks a lot, by the way, Rob, for making the time. It's been, of course, it's my first time doing such a recording in Bali with you. And it's been wonderful to see the focus you have around both loving hair, loving creativity, and how you are so passionate about employees and the quality. And I'm sure that's why people continue to work with you for so long, because you instill quality and passion for the space. So thank you. And
You're welcome. And I enjoyed talking to you. And I love Sonoti as well, because it takes away for me a lot of things that I'm thinking, but I have not the knowledge. I don't read, like I told you. So you have to do bring the new stuff. Like Rochelle and Savannah are really fan of Sonoti. So
yes,
it will come together. Thank you so much.
sure. Thank you.
Growth Diaries is brought to you by Zenoti.